Welcome to Stanislaus Football Weekly, and now for your hosts, Joe Cortez and Brian VanderBeek.
Hi, welcome to the show. I'm Joe, and look who's back with us, fresh off his adventures from the World Series.
It was fun.
Yeah, and we are taping this on a Tuesday.
The Giants play in about a couple hours here.
A couple hours,
so we don't know who won yet.
We don't know what's what,
Yeah.
but anyway, welcome back, Brian.
Thank you. Good to be back.
So, what we're going to do this week is we're going to make some picks. We're going to jump right into our picks, and then we're going to look at how these picks affect the larger context of the league races.
And playoff spots.
And playoff spots, correct.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with the Central California Conference,
Mhm.
and the first game we're going to look at is Pittman versus Atwater, in Atwater.
Yeah.
I think we're both in agreement here on this one.
Right, yeah. Pittman's going to win this game.
Okay. That sets up then, well, that brings into play the Merced-Turlock game this Friday night at Joe Debley, which I'm going to staff this week. And who do you like there?
I like Merced to give Turlock its first CCC loss here, and obviously that ruins a chance for Harvest Bowl. You know, not quite winner take all, but winner of that game being the #1 seed out of the CCC.
Right.
And yeah, who do you like in that game?
Well, they're both 3-0. Merced and Turlock are both 3-0 in the conference. Pittman is 2-1.
Yeah.
We like Pittman to get to 3-1. I like Merced to win this game as well.
Yeah.
That means Turlock is 3-1, and that sets up basically a winner-take-all Harvest Bowl on November 7 at Joe Debley, because Pittman and Turlock will both be 3-1. The winner gets the #2 playoff seed behind Merced.
The winner gets a #2, but should Turlock? I don't think this is the bigger picture.
This is the doomsday scenario.
Doomsday scenario. You know, I'd like Merced to win this week against Turlock, and then I like Pittman to win the Harvest Bowl. That means that Turlock finishes at 5-5, and they're not going.
They're not going if that's the case.
They're not going. I just think the CCC is going to end up with 2 playoff spots this year. That's tough.
That's tough, and not what we expected.
No.
Moving on to the Valley Oak League. The big game of this week is Sierra at Manteca. Of course, Sierra is the #1 large school in the Bees rankings. They're undefeated, the lone undefeated team that we have still.
Right.
And Manteca, the crosstown rival. Who do you like in this one?
Yeah, I like Sierra, and Sierra really can lose this game and still be in like Flint, because they'd have to lose this week to Manteca and then next week to Weston Ranch to lose the #1 seed coming out of the VOL, and I just don't see that happening.
Okay, and then that sets up next week's big Oakdale Central Catholic showdown in the Corral for that '2 playoff seed.
The #2, I just think you know, Sierra has been talked about being on the bubble between divisions 3 and 4, but you talked to some people. You talked to Will DeBoard, and his idea is that, or his notion, strong feeling is that Sierra is going to be in Division 3.
In Division 3, that's kind of the way it's leaning at this point.
But no matter what happens in the VOL this week and next, they're going to get 4 teams in the playoffs. I think
Absolutely,
that's solid. They're going to get 4 teams.
I think that's a lock. Yeah. Okay, the Trans Valley League is up next. We've got a couple of good games this week. Modesto Christian at Hillmar. This is a game earlier in the season we thought was going to be something really special. Hillmar's kind of had a rough season. But MC at Hillmar and Ripon at Escalon.
Right. You know, I never pick against Ripon.
Right.
This week, I'm picking against Ripon.
Oh yeah, you're going against the alma mater.
I just don't, having seen Escalon play a couple times and looking at the number of points Ripon's given up, I just don't see Ripon stopping Escalon. Ripon's given up like 280 points this year. It's outrageous.
I really liked Ripon last week when I saw them for the first time this year.
Defensively, they're just not going to get it done.
I think I would pick Ripon if it were in Ripon at Stauffer Field. It's in Escalon. I'm going with the Cougars there.
Yeah.
And I'm going with MC in the other game.
Right, as I am. That's going to be Hillmar's not a bad team. I mean, I really like that Hillmar team. How hard it played, and the game I saw them lose to Escalon a couple weeks ago. And but I just think Modesto Christian has so much firepower. That's a fun team to watch.
Like you pointed out, Hillmar has trouble running the ball.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing against Modesto Christian's defense.
No.
So we have Modesto Christian and Escalon both improving to 4-0, and then meeting next week for all the marbles in the Trans Valley League.
Yeah, but in any case, again, we've talked about what happens in the playoffs. Trans Valley League is going to get 3 teams. Modesto Christian, Escalon, and Houston, because Houston gets its 6th win this week
against Riverbank.
Ripon's still got a shot to grab that #2 seed. I just don't see it happening.
Right.
But no, shooting for us today is Debbie Noda, and she was at that Modesto Christian Ripon game last week.
She was indeed, as was I.
And we've got some photos from that.
We do. So take a look at these, enjoy them.
So I got up Saturday morning in San Francisco and checked the coverage on modb.com, and the first photo I saw was that shot of Modesto Christian's Luke Andrew body slamming a Ripon High player. That's a terrific shot.
Yeah, it really is. You know, I've heard so much about Connor Dowd, the special linebacker at Modesto Christian, and then I kept seeing these hits, and I saw that hit as well, and I kept thinking that's Dowd, and it was Luke Andrew who kept just colliding with people. Came up with some real big hits that night.
I'm still amazed at MC. They're doing this with 18 kids.
Yeah.
That's amazing to me.
Mike Parsons did a great job.
Yeah.
Did a great job. Where are we, B?
Southern League.
Here we are. Well, we've got Mariposa versus Ripon Christian this week, and kind of the biggest game of the week. Gustine should win this week against Delhi. You with me there? Or Estimba should beat Waterford.
Yeah.
LeGrand should beat Denair.
Yes. Which sets up, if Mariposa, it comes down to that Mariposa-LeGrand game. Mariposa at 5-0 in league, Ripon Christian at 3-2. If Mariposa gets by Ripon Christian, it sets up Battle of Southern League unbeatens next week. LeGrand at Mariposa.
That's right.
For the Southern League title.
That's the way I think it's going to play out.
Yeah, I think so too.
But Ripon Christian, if it beats Mariposa, and then takes care of business the following week and gets help from LeGrand in that LeGrand-Mariposa showdown, Ripon Christian can still grab that number 2 playoff seed.
Yeah, but number 2 or not, the Southern League is going to get 4 teams.
Yeah, the Knights are in. They've got 6 wins.
Right.
They're going to get in, but certainly helps to have that.
Well, LeGrand's in, Mariposa's in, Ripon Christian's in. Gustine already has 6 wins.
Correct.
They're going to be in. Great season for the for the Redskins.
Absolutely.
Oh, by the way, did you know there are 30? I read you talk about this Washington Redskins, all this stuff, and somebody did another story because there's actually a high school team on an Indian reservation that has the nickname Redskins, and they're fighting to keep it.
They're not bothered by it.
They're not bothered by it. There are 37 teams nationwide, high school football teams nationwide that have the nickname Redskins, and we have 2 of them.
We have 2 of them.
We have 2 of them.
Gustine and Calaveras.
Calaveras, yeah. I thought that was interesting.
And then we have the Warriors, Gustine's longtime rival, or Estimba High.
And Indians, and
or Estimba is 5-3, plays Waterford this week. If Estimba wins, they get to that magical 6-win plateau, and they're probably in as well.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Mother Lode League. No mystery here. Sonora is the number 1 seed easily.
Right.
Just ran through this league.
Great. I mean, they opened the season with that loss to Oakdale in the traditional. They've won 8 since. They're at Bret Hart. That's not going to be a problem. They've wrapped up the league title with either Calaveras or Amador lining up to get that number 2 seed. And they play next week?
They play November 7.
November 7, yeah.
Somerville should get to 6 wins. Somerville has a bye this week. Should get to 6 wins against Linden the following week.
Right.
And then Amador and Calaveras. Amador and Calaveras are both 3-1.
4-4, yeah.
And 3-1 in league, 4-4 overall.
Right.
Which means when they meet, one of them's not going to get to 6 wins.
Right, and Mother Lode League, any way you look at it, is going to end up with 3 teams in the playoffs. Sonora is the number 1 seed and a high seed in Division 4. Somerville's going to get in, and then next week's Amador Calaveras winner.
That's it.
That's it.
That one's simple.
Yeah.
Now the Western Athletic Conference, it's shaping up to look like Los Banos versus Pacheco in a huge matchup. What do they call that thing?
The Crosstown Clash.
The Crosstown Clash. But this week, we've got Central Valley at Los Banos and Livingston at Patterson. Livingston, with 5 wins, is fighting for its playoff life.
Right.
You know, that was the little story, the little engine that could, and it's a great story.
Right.
But little engine's kind of chugging along right now. Livingston takes on Patterson at Patterson.
Right.
Central Valley has Los Banos. Now, Central Valley has 5 wins, as does Livingston. They're both trying to get that magic 6 win.
Yeah. Well, Los Banos probably beats Central Valley this week to set up the big crosstown clash last week.
I agree.
But then Central Valley is going to turn around and get its 6th win against Ceres in its own city championship game.
I believe that.
Even should Livingston knock off Patterson this week, Patterson at 5-3, Patterson finishes its season with El Cap.
Right.
So it's going to get to 6 wins.
Winless El Cap, playing without seniors, so
yeah,
that's probably an easy 6 win. Pacheco has the week off.
Pacheco has the week off.
Getting ready for that big showdown.
I still look to Patterson to beat Livingston this week. Knock Livingston out of the playoffs, which means that the WAC is going to get Pacheco, Los Banos, Patterson, and Central Valley in the playoffs.
And I'll buy that for $1. I'm with you.
Okay.
The Central California Athletic Alliance, I think that one's pretty simple. It looks like only Stone Ridge Christian out of Merced is going to get in.
Mm-hmm.
Big Valley and Turlock Christian don't appear to be headed for a top 3 finish.
Yeah.
Division 7 is made up of the CCAA and the Sacramento Metro Athletic League.
Right.
Top 3 teams go.
Right.
Number 1
bracket.
Teams get
first round bye.
Get a first round bye.
Yeah.
And finally,
MMC, baby.
the MMC, baby. What do we got this week?
Downey versus Davis, Modesto versus Bayer, Enox at Grigori.
Okay.
These are interesting games. Downey 7-1, 4-0 in conference. Davis 5-3, 1-3. Downey's got to be the overwhelming favorite here. Davis could give him a game.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that's what Enox is counting on.
Yes.
Enox, if it beats Grigori, improves its league record to 4-2.
Yes.
It would need help from Bayer over Modesto,
Yeah.
and then I think Grigori versus Modesto in the no, they've already played. I can't remember who Modesto finishes with.
Yeah.
But Enox would need some serious help.
Well,
but they're still alive.
They're still alive, and I expect Enox Grigori to actually be a pretty good game, mainly because this is Enox's 10th game. This is it. They're going to leave everything on the field. Not that they don't do that every Friday night anyway.
Right,
but with the
you got to empty the tank here.
You have to, and they will leave it on the field against Grigori. I still see Grigori winning on its home field. Setting up Downey versus Grigori in Week 10.
Right, and that's a winner take all.
It's winner take all for the number 1 seed out of the MMC.
And I agree. I think Grigori beats Enox. I have Downey beating Davis, and I have Modesto beating Bayer.
It sets up the MMC getting in 3 teams in the playoffs. Downey, Modesto, and Grigori all will finish with 7 or more wins. Remember, Grigori last year got to 6 wins, did not get a playoff berth. I think Davis loses this week to Downey, and then next week to Modesto, and then finishes right there with 5 wins. 5-5. And I tell you, even if they should win one of those 2 games, it's going to be. I think there might be that MMC team with 6 wins to be left out.
Yeah, it could happen.
Yeah.
But the Grigori, Downey, Modesto is just how the coaches picked it.
Yeah. They know. The coaches know.
Just saying.
I'm never going to doubt that the coach knows more about his team than we're ever going to know, because you don't know.
You don't know. You think you know.
You think you know,
but you don't know. Well, that does it, Beek.
Yeah, it was fun.
That was kind of a quick show for your return. We took it easy on you.
Good to be back.
Close the show for us. I've been using the Brian VanderBeek line.
Yeah.
Nobody does it like you.
Well, here we go. We got this week and next week in the regular season. Next week's Week 10.
That's it.
And there's a lot of good games like we just went over. So just go out and have a great football weekend.